Hello everyone, my name is Stanley St. Rose, and today we're going to be talking about Fiesta 1980, written by Junot Diaz. This short story is part of the Drowned short story collection by Junot Diaz. Before I go into the summary analysis of this work, please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and or comment so that the channel can continue to grow. So this short story is the second short story in the Drowned collection, and it's very fascinating, and we learn a lot about Junior and Rafa, two main characters that we were introduced to in the first short story of this collection. The first short story was called Israel. So Junior and Rafa, we get introduced to them again, and they're in a different setting. They're no longer in the Dominican Republic. They're now in America. So basically, within the short story, what's basically happening is that the boys' aunt and uncle, they're now no longer in the Dominican Republic. They have moved to the Bronx, and Junior and Rafa and the rest of the family, their mother and father, they're going to visit them, their aunt and uncle, and kind of like have a party because now everybody's in the United States. Life is great. And now it's all about success and getting, making a better life for themselves. But the thing is, like, what's really fascinating about the short story is that it's the transition from living in the Dominican Republic to being an American citizen. In this family, there's a lot going on. I mean, Fiesta 1980, it sounds like a simple short story. I mean, it's, Dominican Americans, they're meeting together in the Bronx. They're going to this apartment. They're going to have a party, dancing, food, and good times and laughter. But there's so much more going on because, first and foremost, we know that Junior's father is not the most loving and nurturing father. He beats his kids a lot. He beats Junior within the short story for throwing up in the car. He beats them up for not behaving. So he's all about dominance. He dominates over his wife. He dominates over his kids. He's not, abusing them. I wouldn't use abuse. I don't think it goes that far. I think in the Caribbean world, children just get beaten a lot. Not like, blood gushing out kind of beatings, but just they do get beaten by their parents for disciplinary reasons. So Junior, he's not really that close with his father. His father is more, the voice of dominance. Within Fiesta, we get these description of his father being argumentative. He's tough. He does what he wants. He's all about his status and prestige. Because within the short story, he has a brand new van, and he's all about looking good, being good, asserting his dominance everywhere he goes. We also learned that Junior's father has a mistress, so that makes the matters worse because from that we learned that Junior's father, Rafa's father, their father is cheating on their mother, and that's not good for the family. So there's a lot going on for it's what's going on between the father and the mother, the affair. There's also the transition for them from the Dominican Republic to the United States, and that's very significant because these individuals are now Dominican Americans and they're getting used to American products, the American way of life, American holidays, American words. I mean, we see Junior using words like dope within this short story, and he didn't use that in the first one. So in the first short story, you saw him using Spanish words and slangs, not American ones. But when in Fiesta, when Junior is now in the United States and he's been I guess he's adapted to the American way of life. He's using words like dope and American slang to describe his family and what's going on within his family. So the kids are adjusting. They're adjusting, but there is some problems. Like the one big problem that's within the short story, or that Junior is having, is that he keeps throwing up a lot when he's in the car with his parents or with anybody. And this is specifically in the new car, his dad's car. And the throwing up, I don't think it's car sickness or he's like conditioned to throwing up, because we saw within the first short story, we saw in Israel that Junior can ride in a car without throwing up. He can ride a bus without throwing up. He can ride transportation without throwing up. It's only when he's in his dad's car in the United States, and his mom is saying it's something with the car, with the seating, with the padding. It's the smell. It's the atmosphere of the car. That's why he's throwing up. It's not something that he has that's wrong with him. And for me, from my perspective, I think the throwing up by Junior is about everything, the dark things that are happening within the family that nobody's talking about, because everybody kind of feels and knows about Junior's father cheating on the mother, and if that gets out, if that builds to a big if it leads to a fight, that's going to lead the family to split, and that says a lot about financial. Where the family is going to be financially, how the kids are going to be split up. I think the nervousness and the throwing up of Junior, I think it's more about how where he's at emotionally. Because within the short story, we see his father taking them to his mistress and having them eat with his mistress and himself. So there's no way the kids are 100% on board with this, because they see that their mother is being cheated on, and their father is sleeping with this woman. He's not hiding it from them. It's just the mother, in of a way, ignores it, and the children try to ignore it and try to not make it their business when they're all aware of it. The little sister in the short story, we don't really get, we don't talk to her a lot. Nothing gets really mentioned of her that much. We just know that she's part of the family and she's in the car back and forth when they go to the Bronx and come back. They don't, we don't really, the character doesn't really develop within this short story. So that's what's going on in the family. That's how the kids are feeling. The brothers, Rafa and Junior, they know about this affair. They're not saying anything about it to their mother. They're going to this party. Their father is really tough. He's really controlling. He's really dominant, both on them, on the kids and the mother. And so that's the atmosphere of the household. And then they all get in the car. They go to this party in the Bronx to welcome their uncle and aunt to the American world. And Junior throws up. He ends up brushing his teeth on the side of the road. And his father is not happy. His father is always ready to beat him up, beat him for throwing up in the car. He doesn't like to wash. The father doesn't like to wash things himself. He doesn't like his son's throwing up in his brand new car. And they're all under his thumb. So they have to do what he says. They have to bend to his will. So they all get to this party. We get a description of the aunt and uncle's house or apartment. Excuse me, it's an apartment in the Bronx, and it's all about being gaudy. And there's a disco ball in their living room. There's a disco ball in the living room. The seats are covered in plastic, or it's all showy. And if you read the first short story within this collection of short stories, you know that this aunt and uncle, they used to have a house where there was no electricity, no television, or things like that. And now they have all these fancy things to kind of show their wealth and how life has gotten better for them. Everyone's a little fatter. Everyone's a little bit meatier. There's more food to eat. There's more food to go around. Life is better. There's work. There's jobs. No one is fighting to stay alive. So life is better. So we see a lot of show of wealth and a better life within this work. So the party goes on. We see Rafa. He meets two girls around his age at this party. They boot out Junior because I guess he just doesn't look good enough, or girls don't approach him as much as his brother. So they kind of boot Junior out, and Rafa is Rafaing. He's Rafaing with the ladies, and the kids stay to themselves. And this party is very tense because first and foremost, Junior can't eat. His father says he can't eat because he's gonna throw up in his new car, and he doesn't want that. So Junior is banned from eating at the table or eating at all at this party. The mother spends a lot of time talking to her sister. Rafa is macking with the other girls his age. There's a mute boy that is at the party that, him and Junior, they play dominoes, they beat Rafa and his girl. They have fun. The kids have fun. The mute boy. Eventually, what happens is towards the end at the party is that the adults dance with each other. Junior's mom and father, they dance with each other. Rafa ends up, having fun with other kids his age. They make Junior guard the door, and they fool around amongst each other. So it's an interesting story. Junior does get some food eventually. If you're wondering if Junior eats or not, he does eat. His aunt sneaks him some food, and he eats. And he ends up spending the rest of the night himself. I mean, he watches his mom, and he thinks about his family and where it's going. And he is the smart one. Within this work, his father's mistress call him the smart one. That his brother, Rafa is more, he's more about brute force. He's more about his looks. He's more about getting girls. I mean, Junior even tells us the girls that he's interested in are girls with, I guess, physical blessings, I guess. Girls that have the body parts that he's interested in. That's how you can describe Rafa. He's just, he's kind of like the macho man who's after girls, who beats up his brother and, acts cool. So by the end of the party, everybody dances, everybody eats, Rafa has his fun, and then at the end of the night, they kind of kick Junior because he fell asleep by himself, not spending any time with anyone, and they all ride home. On the ride home, the father has his hand on his wife's knee, and they're sitting in the front. And then Junior and his siblings are in the back, and then he has to throw up again, and everybody knows what that means. So Fiesta 1980, it's a very interesting short story. It's all about a party, but there's so much that's revealed about this family and how much problems it has and where it's going. In terms of analysis, in terms of deeper meaning, there's a lot to take in here. I can say that even Junior kind of feels like his parents' relationship is not going to last that long. The mother kind of feels like her husband is cheating on her. The husband, Junior's father's not really hiding anything because he's bringing his kids to see his mistress, and then he leaves them by themselves and then sneaks upstairs with his mistress for hours. So he's really high-powered. We kind of get a feeling that he's not going to be in the picture that long, that he's going to leave his family. It's probably going to be up to the mother to keep the family together or keep her kids together. Rafa is just super tough, do his own thing. We don't know where he's going to end up, but he's just so, I guess you can say stubborn, dominant, but not as dominant from his father. I think Rafa kind of gets it from his father, because his father is the same way, or his father is worse. I think in the first short story, Rafa's father was not present, and Rafa was like this blunt kid, did whatever he wanted. And in this short story, the father is kind of like that dominant figure, and Rafa kind of like yields to his father. Well, I guess that's the way it's supposed to be. Junior is smart. I mean, he's seeing what's going on. He understands his brother very well. He understands his father. He understands his mother. He understands where he stands in the world. And again, I guess he's kind of like this collection of short story by Junot Diaz is kind of like autobiography in of a way, or it pretty much is. And I guess Junior is the stand-in for the author. So, maybe Junot Diaz is kind of like representing himself through Junior. There's a lot to unpack there. So I want to see more with this family. I think what Junior is thinking about how his parents are going to split up is very important. And I think it is going to happen. Another thing that's very significant is the aunt and uncle, because the aunt and uncle, they don't have children. The aunt wants children, but she doesn't have children. She's very nosy. She interrogated Junior. Junior didn't really give that much information about his family and how they were getting along. But the overwhelming thing, the overwhelming matter that hangs over this family is this pretty much inevitable breakup that's coming between the mother and father. Because sooner or later, she's not stupid. I mean, whenever he comes home from work, he's quickly running to the shower so that his wife, so that Junior's father's quickly running to the shower so that his wife doesn't see that maybe he smells like another woman, or has the perfume of another woman on him, or the lipstick of another woman on him, to just kind of like wash that away before his wife sees him. Sooner or later, she is going to figure it out, and I think she's already on the kind of like starting to like tear apart the layers and really get under the layers of her husband and what's been going on behind her back. So this story ends in a very glooming place, kind of also foreshadowing what's to come between this mother and father and the ultimate breakup of this family. But yeah, that's what goes on in Fiesta 1980 by Junot Diaz. Please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and or comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video.